Is it on? Oh, yeah.
You're up.
Call to order, Vermillion County Council meeting for March 9th, 2026. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Roll call, Mr. Costello.
Here.
Mr. Somerville.
Here.
Ms. Brown. Here. Ms. James, I'm present. Mrs. Furry. Here. Mr. Bose.
Here.
Mr. Weir.
Here.
Thank you. The first item tonight will be the approval of minutes. We have minutes from our February 9th, 2026 meeting. Are there any additions, corrections, comments for those? Anybody have anything?
The only thing I seen was where we made a motion for Tammy Lowry's position. It says all in favor, and I think Kelly opposed it, but I don't think that. In case you wanted that noted,
It does need
it
to.
just says all in favor.
Which number is that under?
4B.
4B.
It's not here, so.
That's for blue.
Here it is.
Wow. It was also on the additional appropriation documentation for tonight's meeting. It was noted as such.
I spoke with the auditor's office about marking that out, because that's for tonight's
Right.
appropriation.
Well, that's what it's just.
It just got filled out wrong when they submitted it.
I guess that's 9. I can't read my Roman numerals.
Okay. Yeah, so let me change. These ones. Ron, will you let them know that needs changed?
Yeah.
Thank you.
And I'd also like to say, if I remember correctly, that was just for the year of 2026 only.
Yeah. Yeah, because it has the additional years in there.
So where are you saying, Rick? On which part?
On 9B, where it says we'll make a motion to add a 4th deputy. It says in addition appropriation in March, but also should have been for the year 2026. Not any further than that.
Oh, you just want to add it to say for the year of 2026?
Yeah.
Okay. So, it'll read in bold there,
Just need to modify that.
the cost for the 4th deputy until an additional appropriation in March for the year of 2026.
Yes.
Just some clarification. Okay. And then instead of all in favor, we'll say all in favor,
Yeah, 6-1 vote.
except Somerville opposed. Okay. Anything else like changed? Is there a motion to accept the minutes as corrected?
I'll make a motion.
I'll second. Okay.
Should reach a. Okay, I have a motion from Mr. Bose, a second from Ms. Brown to accept the minutes as corrected. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor, please signify by stating aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, state no. Minutes are approved.
That was me. Sorry.
Next on the agenda is the monthly treasurer report. Are there any questions regarding that report? No? Okay. We do not have any transfer of funds this evening. So we'll move along to the additional appropriations. And those we do have. The first additional appropriation this evening is for the clerk's office. This is from last month that we briefly just talked about again in the minutes. It is for a total of $35,827.28, $32,727.28 for the fourth deputy, and $3,100 for the elected official. $3,100 is replacing what we removed last month to start that pay. So it's just replacing it, putting it back into that account. Is there a motion for that additional?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
I have a motion for Mr. Weir, a second for Mr. Bose, for additional appropriation for the clerk's office from County General in the total amount of $35,827.28. Any further discussion? All those in favor, please signify by stating aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, state no.
Still no.
All right, additional is approved. The next three additional appropriations are for the circuit court. Judge Reed is here this evening. The first one that we have, Judge, is the $31,100 for equipment and maintenance agreements, and then office equipment.
Okay. Chris Reed, Circuit Court. I gave a packet about 2 weeks ago. I don't know how, or if you guys got the packet or not. It kind of outlined everything as far as where we're at on that. Did you? Yeah, I see you got it. So
Got it now.
Basically, I'll be brief on this because I tried to outline it as much as I could in the interest of time. The last time the courtroom really received any update as far as technology was in 2012. There has been one of the things that when I got into office, having been in that courtroom for about 6.5 years as chief deputy prosecutor, there was a lot of issues with the technology sound, and I started looking into that. I found out that I could request a grant from the Indiana Office of Court Services through the Supreme Court. It's a Supreme Court funded grant. The maximum amount of grant the maximum amount that you can get on those grants is $40,000. Now, in getting to that and applying for that grant, I had to go and get estimates of what the courtroom, what it would take to update the technology in the courtroom, Zoom, the recording system, the microphones, and an effort to try to bring the courtroom up to where all litigants and attorneys would be able to view and see what took place in there. So I reached out to Judge Reese, Hunter Reese of Warren County, which is my mentor judge. He had used BCS, which is a copy of the estimate in there. I had to get a rough estimate from them, and from the time that the grant opened up until I had to have it submitted was very quick. BCS, this is what they do across the state of Indiana, and I found out since then that they do it in surrounding state for courtrooms. So they're stationed out of Evansville. So what happened under those circumstances, I got a hold of Jason Buchanan, which owns it. He says, I can't make it up there before you need to have an estimate to put in your grant. So I took some pictures of the courtroom, took measurements, sent all the information to him, and he put together an estimate based on what was needed to bring it up to the courtroom up to date. I will say, and I'll hand out, he sent the regional representative up, Andy Leeper came up on the 24th and actually visited the courtroom, went through the courtroom, took a bunch of photographs, looked at our system, looked at how everything is set up, the wiring, what they could do. He went in the attic, he went in down here on the second floor to see what they could do along those lines, and spoke more to me in person about what they could do, because the way that courtroom's set up, where the TV's at, and you're welcome to come up and take a look at it anytime, where the TV's set up in there, the jury cannot see it for exhibits. There's no way of really displaying stuff. If the jury can see it, then the counsel can't see it, and the defendant has a right to see what's going on in placing exhibits and body cam video and stuff like that on the screen to play at trial. So he came up and looked. I've got he sent out another, and I know I had 8 copies the first time I brought stuff down. I found out I needed 9. So if you want to pass them around, it doesn't change much. This is just a little bit closer of a estimate in the exact equipment that is needed as far as bringing it up to the technology today and what we need as far as for jurors, litigants, and counsel. So that's how it came about as far as writing the grant. And this all started back in October of 2025 when I put in for the grant, when I was talking with Jason Buchanan. Also, I reached out, and I've mentioned this in previous meetings, we have and currently utilize the BIS system, which I think is Exhibit 3 in your packet. The BIS system is the recording. They pretty much had a monopoly for years. It's called the Business Information System. We're required to record everything that goes on in court. They back it up, and then we proceed from there. It's basically a software, okay? They don't bring in equipment. It's a software that utilizes the computer system and all of the recording systems and mics and everything in the courtroom. I've been looking at FTR, which is for the record. That's Exhibit 4 in the packet that I gave you. What I have determined, and I mentioned this briefly before, BIS, the Business Information System, as you can see from a invoice that we received earlier this year for April of 2026 through April of 2027, we have to pay forward on these. The cost per year is $6,947.44. What I've found in dealing with FTR and Erica Kiss from FTR, as Exhibit 4 shows, you have a one-time fee for the basic system, one-time fee of approximately $3,700. And then each year thereafter, it's only $795 for the updates on their software. Now, you can increase to a higher level of software if you wish, and that's a little bit more. But in talking with Erica, we talked back and forth quite a bit, but this was the quote she sent me as far as for the record. Now, where I'm at in that is if I can get the money approved, get the court updated, then I can go with for the record, which would cost the initial, as stated in there, is the $36.95 would be for the first year, and then $795 every year after that, which is the difference between the $6,947.44. So I would be saving money on the recording system if I can get switched to the FTR before this wants their money towards the end of April. So I got the $40,000 as stated in the letter. The court reform grant is a highly sought after grant by judges across the state of Indiana. It's not normally fully funded. You don't normally get the full $40,000. You'll get a portion of that, even if the cost of what you're requesting is above the $40,000. As the letter stated in Exhibit 1 from the Office of Court Services, they stated, we've received substantial interest in 2026 court reform grant. Although limitations prevented us from fully funding all requests, Vermilion County Courts Technology Project has been fully funded. So based on the information that I supplied to the Supreme Court, and they believed that this is a necessity, it is an update that needs to be done to the courtroom, so they fully funded my grant. However, there is the difference in this, and the coming up with the $31,000, I set it out in the letter that I wrote. The approximate cost, give or take a little bit, they build in some wiggle room on the newest estimate, but I can stick with the amount that I have in the first estimate. There's not that much difference. And my thing is, I think the first estimate had the tax in it. The second estimate showed tax exempt or no tax, which made a little bit of difference, of course, which were tax exempt as far as having that work done. So the quote from BCS was $62,405. That's the old quote. The newer quote was right around $65,000 with about a $2,500 buffer built in. The BIS, or the switching from BIS to FTR, if I can get that switched in time, I don't know whether I can get it switched that quick. It would be a software download. But if I could get switched to BIS before the bill, or switched to FTR before the BIS bill is due, there would be the cost of $36.95 plus the $795 for this software support and annual fees. That makes up a portion of the $31,000, and then it's unknown exactly. We have, of course, Convergent Technologies, or what I still call EAS, or IT here, of course, and I don't know, and I don't plan to get into, and I don't want to get into exactly their limits of what their contract is with the county. However, in getting everything synchronized between the county system and the new system when it is put in, I built in an amount of $5,000. Okay, that would be for services outside of what the contract they have with the county, like the coming in and fixing or updating the software or whatever like that. That is all a part. I don't know exactly what would be included. It might cost nothing. Okay, it might cost $500 as far as what it would cost them to come in and sync anything that needed to be synced with the system that we currently have. So that's a brief rundown of what I'm looking for, where the $31,000 is. I'm not saying I would need all of that as far as the money going forward, but I have to build in a little bit of a buffer in that amount if there's any unforeseen costs. So that's what the 5,000 is for Convergent Technologies to come in and help link stuff together if it's needed. 2,500 of the BCS is built in as a buffer, so the bill might not be as high as what it is. And then the numbers are pretty straightforward on the FTR if I were to be able to switch from BIS to FTR for their software. So does anybody have any questions for me as far as what I'm looking at? They list out separate out the labor and what the new equipment would be to go into courtroom. They're going to utilize as much of the equipment in the courtroom as they can, which like includes, you'll notice in there in the new one, they actually reached out to FTR and was trying to talk with them. They hadn't heard back before they gave that estimate, the updated estimate. But they also noted in there, though, that they would be utilizing like the monitors that we have and as much as possible to link with the system. So, and if you ever come upstairs and look, it's a rat's nest. Beside the jury box, there's cords going every which direction, and they would clean that up, put in a specific box for all the electronics, clean things up as well, add in additional cameras, mics, and stuff like that. Now, I will tell you this, that Andy, when he spoke with me, and Terry's not here tonight, Terry Carrera, but I assured Terry that they're not going to be drilling in the floors or the ceilings or whatever like that, because one, it's a historical building. Two, no telling what they would be getting into, so they're going to run a lot of the wires and stuff along the walls and out of the way, so they don't have to. He went up in the attic and then he came down here somewhere and looked at stuff, but they're just not going to drill into or in any way modify the structure of the courthouse. And that was one of the questions I had for him, but he'd already looked because I was on the bench when he got here, so he went and looked at the other stuff first. But I know Terry, I caught Terry later and I said, hey Terry, don't worry, he's not drilling anything. So, but that's what it is. Any questions you have for me?
I have two.
Yes.
The BIS digital,
Yes.
you may have already looked into this, but if, with your timeline, if it doesn't, could they maybe do month to month till
Or prorated.
prorate it?
And
then the other thing is,
Yeah.
this, I believe this $6,900 was appropriated in your budget.
It is.
So are you taking account that money out of
Ye-
this
yes
money?
and no.
Okay.
Okay. Yes, if I can get, I didn't want to get the cart in front of the horse, because if I don't get the money, then that changed where I'm at. I'm probably going to have to get a hold of this and do that. The reason I built that money is because if I wasn't approved, there was no way I could get FTR lined around in the period of time to cut BIS off. So if I were to get the additional appropriation, I would immediately contact BIS and say, hey, can I either prorate or something as far as do a month to month for that period of time? Because if I don't have a recording system, it shuts. I mean, I cannot do anything. As sometimes of a morning when I've gone in and we can't get a hold of BIS and the system is down. And that's one of the big things that we've had issues with, the reason I was wanting to go to FTR. And I did do the research with other courts on FTR. A lot of the courts that I deal with, including Warren County, Judge Reese went to FTR and has been 100% satisfied with it over the BIS system. And there's other judges I talked to, and I won't bore you with listing all the names in the
Ron,
counties.
is that what do we use down here? Is it still the BIS down here?
No, we're currently getting away from it though.
And I know that sometimes if you have overflow, you use this. Does that need to be coordinated with the same system? Or not?
It's still gonna be a recording system, so it's still gonna back everything up. I don't wanna step outside my lane here, but it might be something, I don't know what you're paying a year for, the BIS down here, but I can give you the contact information, and also, with Erica, if I am allowed to go that direction.
They just don't have to be the same as where I was going
We're
with that.
currently moving away from, yeah.
So, so any other hopefully I answered your question. Okay, any other questions?
I have one.
Yeah.
In the past, we've talked, like, not you, but previous judges have spoken about trying to do video conferencing with the
Yes.
jail instead of bringing emails.
Yes.
Will this technology allow for that?
I'm utilizing it to a certain extent now. All initial hearings from the jail, those that have to be advised of their charges and their constitutional rights that are in the jail, I do those by Zoom now. I try to, like, I had a hearing, a termination of criminal rights, a TPR hearing last Thursday. 3 of the witnesses in that appeared by Zoom. So yes, it will help the jail. I don't know whether Holcamp's here. I see him downstairs. The jail updated they turned their library into, or what the room they call library, into a media room, so I can deal with that and can do that. The problem we have right now, which 2 things, yes, it will help and increase with that, because now we will have, right now, if you're on Zoom, you may see your attorney, you may not, because the way the cameras are. One of the things that goes into this that I talked with Andy about is each counsel table will have a monitor. So they can, and it's a monitor that will drop down and come up when they need it. So there will also be the cameras, which will allow for the ability of those testifying, either those that I'm doing initial hearings on, or those that are testifying in a trial or a hearing. They will be able to see the person better and speak with him. The other thing we run into with the Zoom, and some of that, and I'll be very blunt and straightforward, some of the issue with Zoom we still have is the bandwidth, okay? But a lot of it is the technology as well. And a lot of times on Zoom, like I had the child in that TPR case was on Zoom with their counselor, and they listened to the whole hearing. Unfortunately, when they're on Zoom with the mics we have now and the audio or the audio video recording, if I'm not, and I'm not going to do it, but if I'm not within about 5 to 6 inches from the mic, those that are on Zoom cannot hear what's going on. It's the way that this technology would also assist with that. So if I'm standing back here and we're having a hearing on Zoom and I'm asking the person stuff on Zoom, more than likely they're not going to hear me. I've had to move my mic around on the bench to be able to pick it up as well. So I hope that answers your question. Yes, it would make it easier. Evidentiary hearings, like any type of sentencing, trial, anything like that, defendant has a right to be in the courtroom unless they waive that right. All evidentiary hearings I have in the courtroom, because right now I don't know whether Zoom's gonna work or not. So this should help with that. Will it completely 100% cure it? No, because I can't get more bandwidth in here.
Okay.
The only question I have, Judge, is terms and conditions.
Yes.
Number 2, 4, and 9, which basically is customer responsibilities, alterations of premises, start and completion dates. Will you be going over those terms and conditions, or someone else?
With
BCS?
yes, with BCS, with Jason. This was his standard contract that he sent just to give me the information that I needed. But as far as, yes, we would go down through that. I'd have to sign it and he would have to sign it as well before anything would proceed in that.
Now, does the judge need to go through the commissioners? I mean, I know in the old administration, they do the contracts, and
Probably.
so just share
For the
that with
building
me.
itself, in
Pardon?
regard to altering the building itself.
Or anything along that lines, terms and conditions, somebody needs to review those. And
I don't know about the terms and conditions for usage, but with the judge
Alterations.
has certain authority, but as far as the building goes, I don't know.
And they won't be doing any alterations to the building. They'll be running the wires around. If you go in there now, like the wires are run up the back, that wood wall behind the bench, the wires are run up the back of it and down and around.
Well, it says here, customer agrees to provide a separate electrical outlet for the equipment, and it goes on and on and on. So I didn't know whether you
Yeah.
read that and understand.
Yes, I've been through it. I mean, if the commissioners want to review it, I've got no problem with the commissioners reviewing it. As far as that, this is,
Somebody needs to review it and
It
at least
should-
understand that part of it.
and I was just trying not to get the cart in front of the horse because I know I didn't want to waste the commissioner's time reviewing it or somebody else reviewing it until I knew whether I was going that direction or not. So tonight is one step in the process. I will say this as well, the grant that I got, the 40,000 I got, is only good. I have to use it this year. It's already in the fund. I have a voucher that I have to fill out, and then it comes out of, so the 40,000 is already there. When if the bill is sent by Buchanan, once the bill comes in, then I have to fill out a state voucher and then submit it to both the auditor and the state. So it is, the money is there. It's not like I have to send everything to the state and then they have to send the auditor the money. Am I telling that right on that, Ron? Okay. So the 40,000 has already been there. If I don't use it, then we have to send it back. The auditor has to send it back. Any other questions?
Does that grant have to be appropriated?
Yeah, if we approve the 31, we'll need to put the 40,000 in here so that we can pay the invoices out of, so on the March meeting, we'll just appropriate the rest of the 40. Yeah, it's March now, honey.
I know.
She's still in February.
I'd hoped to get the stuff last month
Yeah.
before the last meeting to get on the agenda, but I didn't get the final grant letter from the state in time to get on the agenda
Yeah.
last month.
We're gonna, if tonight's gets appropriated, then we'll just add the additional 40 into that account. So that
Okay.
way all the bills can get paid out of there.
Okay.
So the additional appropriation this evening is for the Vermillion County Circuit Court. It is from the general fund, and it is going location 136, which is Circuit Court. The total amount is $31,100, with $3,695 into line equipment and maintenance agreements, and $27,405 into office equipment. So,
If there's no further questions, I'll make a motion to approve the 31,100 as written.
One second. I don't think it's needed.
been a while since it's been updated. I have a motion from Mrs. Furry, a second from Mr. Somerville for an additional $31,100 for the circuit court. Is there any further discussion?
Thanks, Judge, for seeking out the grant. I mean, we
Yes.
always try to
Yes.
encourage people to look for grants, but you've already done that, so that's a big step in this approval, I believe. So,
Huge help.
Thank you all, I appreciate it. And the Supreme Court, I'm learning, has quite a few grants. And so if at any point I can utilize those or that they would work for something. Now, and I can apply for grants next year as well. It's not a one and done. So as we move forward, hopefully that I will continue to be able to get at least a portion. This year that it was kind of, when I got that letter, it was unusual that they gave the full 40,000 to us. So,
Any further discussion? Okay, all those in favor, please signify by stating aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, state no. Appropriate. Thank you very
all
much.
very much.
Thank you.
And yours, there's another one in here for you.
Yes, yeah. I didn't know
Yep,
what
you're-
order you had them in.
You're next.
Okay,
I want you to have to sit down and come back.
thank you.
Yep. Okay, the next additional is also for circuit court, which is the general fund. It is in the amount of $5,000 for the line item judge's salary supplemental. Do you want to explain that, or do you? Like, I know,
I can explain it to the extent that, I know, looking back, they're under the statute, it provides, the county council may provide up to a $5,000 stipend to, judges each year. That money is then budgeted and sent to the state of Indiana, and then the state of Indiana makes the payments out of that into the paycheck for the state, because the judge is paid by the state and not the county. The best that I can tell, looking back, for as far as I could go back, at least 10 years, that stipend has been a part of the budget. In 2024, for the 2025 year, and speaking with my staff, when they would put the budget together, it was in there. Before the budget went to the initial hearings, it was removed from the budget for the 2025 year. To be very straightforward on it, I didn't know exactly how that worked, okay? So it was not in the 2024 apply for the 2025 budget. So then I didn't get it in the 2025 for 2026 because I didn't exactly understand how that process went. I thought that it was a part of the budget as a way as moving forward. So it did not get in the 2026, and so that's the reason I'm here for that now, to see and get the stipend back. Now, and Ron can maybe speak more to this than I can. Apparently, the state sends out the documentation to the auditor, and then the auditor has to send that back into the state, stating whether they will fund it or not.
We had this discussion last night in November.
it was the night we actually approved the budget. 'Cause that was, you asked, it was, because I asked, did you ask for it in the budget, and it wasn't on the
There
budget.
was a deadline on it, and we had a discussion, Judge Reed was involved in the discussion with you. And I had a reply back to it, and a reply that we were going to go ahead and continue it in the next year.
Didn't, okay.
So it was either, there had to be a response made.
I know that night, because it was not in the 25
Well, I went
budget.
back 10
and not in
years,
the
and it always
26.
been paid out to every judge until the judge, I assume, lost the election or whatever happened. But anyhow, this got put on the, or got taken out. So we paid it every year up until the point we changed personnel in the judge's office.
I will say, like, I went in my budget books and on like the budget request, like it was not on the 25 and it was not on the budget
This
request.
was after the budget had already been approved, when I was contacted from the state.
Well, I'm saying for the 26 also, so
Yeah.
I
So it's
just want
been
to
2
make
years.
sure that it wasn't known, like, we just marked it off and.
No, I'm not saying that in
But it
any
was-
I know,
way
I
whatsoever.
know you weren't, but I just wanted
But it
everyone to
wasn't
understand it
there.
wasn't like we just
I'm
removed
just
No,
it.
saying, it had been there 10 years prior, and it wasn't there.
So like on my sheets in my books, I don't have a line for it for
Correct,
2026.
and you're 100% correct, and that's what, somewhere, because when I started looking, realized it hadn't got in the 2025 budget, my staff said, well, when I reviewed the budget before the initial time in 2024, before it was submitted to council, I'm not saying you guys didn't take it out on your own, but before it was submitted, the 2025 budget was submitted, it was removed, and then it didn't go through, and I didn't know anything about it until, of course, I couldn't deal with the budget for 2025 because I wasn't in office yet. And then in 2026, I just, falling short, I didn't realize exactly how it went forward, and you know, I've got no excuses for not being in the 2026 budget, other than I just didn't put it in there, okay? And so the one thing is, at this point, the reason I wanted to and we got this on the council agenda, is currently the state is paying me that $5,000, and if I'm not going to get it, I want to get it cut off, and I don't know if the state can cut it off.
They can, I reached out to them.
Okay.
And what excuse me, I'm a little hoarse tonight. I think we can go out this a couple of different ways. It's up to 5,000.
Yes,
So if we choose to do the full 5, we choose to do the full 5. If we don't choose to do the full 5, we can ask the state to give us maybe a number, or we can choose another number, make sure that we're above what they've paid you, and fulfill that so there's no deductions
okay.
in the
Yeah,
future.
Yeah, yeah,
And if so, she said that there would just need to be a letter submitted in letterhead, and I have an email from Valerie.
yeah, Valerie Brooks.
Yeah.
Valerie Brooks,
So-
and everybody needs a Valerie Brooks, that woman is
So
phenomenal.
I guess it's just a matter of deciding if we want to do the full 5, if we want to cover the portion that's lost, or if we don't want to do anything and force the judge to have him pay back the portion that he's gotten back to the state. That's kind of where we're at. Did that make sense?
I would think since this was done for years.
The reason that this has been done in the past is what I was told is it was hard to find people to run for judge and prosecutor. So in the past, their pay was very, very low. Their pay is not as low as it used to be, and it was an incentive that they allowed the counties to do the supplement. And my personal opinion, it doesn't matter who's standing in front of me right now, it doesn't matter. With the cuts coming from the state, they're cutting us.
Yeah.
They didn't cut you.
Well, they didn't give us any more. I mean, as far as that, there was no raise for 2026, and it doesn't look like there's gonna be any raise for 2027.
I thought there wasn't a 3%
No,
raise.
we got no raise.
Okay.
As far as that. So, and, you know, that's the first I've ever heard that it was as an incentive to get people to run, because I don't know that we've ever had a problem with Vermilion County getting a judge to run.
Well,
because,
Vermilion County might not, but other counties,
as far as that, so.
and they have to do it across the board.
I'll make a motion to approve the supplemental 5,000. One, as far as reasoning is, it appears to be that we have done it in the past. I just take everybody's word for that. And I know the former judge was looking at cutting his budget a lot of different ways, and that might have been one of his thought processes to reduce his budget. And I appreciate that, but again, we have a different judge. Circumstances might be a tad bit different. And I don't know that we've ever had problems getting judges, but I know, having lived in other counties, there is that problem, just like prosecutors. You know, sometimes there's difficulty finding people to run, so I'll make that motion.
I have a motion, is there a second?
I'll make a second.
Okay, I have a motion from Mr. Weir, a second from Mr. Bose for the additional $5,000 for circuit court judge's salary supplemental. Any further discussion?
Can you explain to me how's that already being paid if it's not available yet?
Because they sent the letter, and if they replied yes, then the state just assumes that that's being deposited into the fund. I think what it came about is that they sent us a second letter saying, hey, you haven't sent your $5,000 yet. And so,
So at a minimum, we would owe,
Yes, we owe something
Something.
already, 3 months at least.
It's my understanding the way that it can either be paid in one lump sum or quarterly. And so I think, and mentioned the letter, I can't remember which one of you mentioned the letter, but the letter came forth because we're coming up on the first quarter. And that they had not received anything yet, so it was kind of a nudging letter. as far as that, and that was my understanding.
And in the past, it had always been paid in one lump sum,
Yep,
so they probably saw the difference too.
first of the year.
Yep.
Any other discussion? All those in favor, please signify by stating aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, state no. Appropriation is approved.
Thank you,
Thank you.
thank you. Thank you for the time to speak.
Thank you.
Do we have to change anything?
No, they'll just submit the payment with, if it's not on the salary resolution,
Okay,
because it doesn't come through our W-2s.
correct.
All right, the next additional appropriation is actually on your list twice. It was advertised in two different areas. Just for professional services for the RJL contract for economic development. The total amount for professional services is $86,400. The contract is there, RJL is here. Jonathan and Danielle are with us this evening. And it is being advertised out of the general fund and then also in the economic development fund. Let's see. Not sure why it's in redevelopment.
It's a typo. It's still 149. It's not under 3.
Yeah.
It is. It is 318.
318 in redevelopment?
Yeah. Should be 317.
Mm-hmm.
If my memory serves me correctly.
I guess I don't remember.
Yeah. How sticky are they on that, Ron? With the new upload system into the gateway?
It's the right fund,
It's
but
the
wrong
right
location.
fund, but the wrong location.
Oh, they should be okay with it.
Okay.
I'm like, that's just one number.
Because before we just had to advertise the fund.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, no, now you gotta follow up, so.
Everything's right except for it's
Yeah.
317. It's 3.
So it shouldn't be coming out of redevelopment commission. It should just be the economic development fund. So that should be a 0.1317 instead of 0.318. I didn't catch that one earlier.
Is this for a year? Is this?
Yes.
This is for 1 year?
1 year.
The commissioners had it at their meeting, they reviewed it, went over it, they sent it to us. Commissioner Hess and I met with RJL about a week and a half ago, had a really great discussion. I know we've answered some questions that people have had. Does anybody have questions this evening?
I was just questioning the website. I know there was some, if you could make sure there's some clarification on that. I know that was put in there. And then we have the other, is it BCS? Everything's letters.
Yeah.
RJL, BCS, BIS. As long as we're not double doing or,
Yeah, for the record, Jonathan Blake, Vice President of Economic and Community Development.
That was
RJS.
another one too, FTR, for the record.
You're a lot quicker tonight than I am. But yes, I mean, we know there's the existing website and that BCS has been doing some of that work for you. So, we're happy to partner with them for that transition or assist. Our goal is not to come in and do engineering. That's not our focus. That's not our background. Our focus is really economic development, maintaining those relationships at the State House, making sure that you're represented there, and that when opportunities are coming from the state, we're not reactive, but we're being proactive, and we're engaging in those conversations early.
and I understand that you work for Vigo County as well. Is that any kind of a conflict since we're right close?
Yeah, so that's a temporary contract. Their economic development director left. They've hired us to help with the transition and hire their new director or their new president. So yeah, we're currently serving in that role. We serve in several southern Indiana counties. the way we handle any type of conflict, when a project, say a project came to Vigo County and came to Vermilion County at the same time, we would put both counties on notice that the other county has the interest as well. We would present the same amount of information from both counties and then hand it over to the site selector to make a decision or you know, work through any questions that they might have. So we don't position one county over another or say, okay, hey, we're going to pick this county and put it over here.
Okay.
We make sure it's fully disclosed, it's on the record, not for the record, but on the record. And that way you're aware, hey, there's a potential project for Vigo County or vice versa.
Do you give us any type of monthly, quarterly updates, information, or what can we expect?
Yeah, so it varies by client. So some clients want us there every month and giving an update. In other cases, we provide a written report on a monthly basis and then come present at the council on a quarterly basis. So it really just depends on how frequently you want updates from us. But at the bare minimum, what you would get is a monthly report showing here's the activity. Now in some counties, we do a bi-weekly update on, okay, here's what's happened the last 2 weeks, here's the next project that we're working on. One of the first things we would want to do here is put together a quick strategy on what are the assets that Vermilion County has, what can we utilize to attract investment out here, especially as we think along the I-74 corridor and the US 36 corridor, thinking about what you could leverage in those areas for development. So you would be getting a monthly report from us. Here's what we're working on. Here's kind of where we're at in the strategic planning process, or executing that plan, and then making sure that you're constantly up to speed on the work that we're doing. The other thing that does is allows you to ask any questions or say, hey, I've heard such and such business may be looking to come out here, and so we'd want to engage in those conversations so that, again, we're being proactive and not reactive.
I can say, my opinion is right now we lack a lot of communication. I think we commissioners, everybody here at the courthouse needs more information. So
Yeah.
I would personally ask for more information. I don't know what the discussions have been, but I feel like that's something that definitely needs to be done.
And that's not uncommon. I mean, we hear that quite a bit across the state. A lot of times economic development kind of gets a bad rap because it's thought of as backroom deals, and the public's not intimately aware of what's going on. We try to, whenever we can, provide updates up to the limit of whatever the non-disclosure agreement is. So there is a point where you have to enter into an agreement with a site selector, because I'm not going to disclose certain aspects. Those are primarily related to any type of like intellectual property rights or any type of patented processes that they would be bringing. A lot of times they don't want it publicized that they're looking at a certain area, especially if there are competitors in the area or also looking at that same community. So we just have to walk that line very finely, but that's something that we do on a daily basis. So providing that regular communication to us.
And then how do you represent us at the State House?
Yeah, so we engage with the governor's office, we engage with the IEDC, making sure that they know we would be your economic development professionals. So, they may have potential opportunities that they don't publicize to the entire state, where it's more focused. So we would want to make sure that they know that we're actively engaged out here. If we know of an opportunity that's coming up, whether it's a new business that's looking to come here, or maybe a new initiative, like when we think about READY, as those are coming down, we want to make sure that you're well positioned to take advantage of those. So we would be engaging in those conversations as well, and then bringing you there to engage in those conversations. Now, we would not be your lobbyist. We would not be doing, that's not a part of the scope, but at least having you in those conversations with the administration, with the IEDC, making sure that you're represented.
To get started with economic development, it was also brought up at our meeting to have some kind of group discussion, like from council, commissioners, with redevelopment, whoever we think needs to get involved. They were asking us, where we see ourselves, where we want to get started, what we expect. So that would be a meeting that we'd have in the near future, to have a joint meeting of some kind. If we can't, I know joint meetings are difficult to get that many people, maybe representations from each boards or committees. So that is on the table. If this gets approved, that way we have a starting point.
Yeah, those kickoff meetings are always important. That helps us, get to know you better. It helps you to get to know us, me, our team. We want you to feel comfortable reaching out to us at any time. You will have my cell phone number if you need to reach out. But those kickoff meetings are important because we need to kind of set the groundwork, understand where we're headed collectively. You may have different priorities than the commissioners, than the planning commission, than redevelopment. So we want to make sure that we take all of that into consideration as we're moving forward, because we're not just working for the commissioners, we're not just working for the council, we're working for the county and trying to advance the entire county. So, we want to make sure that you have a say in that and that your voice is, part of that conversation moving forward.
Be a great opportunity to everyone get on the same page. Yeah.
And I know, as Ashley said, I know it's hard to get everybody together, but as many people that could be there, we would look to find times where the mass could come together. And if we needed to have some one-off meetings, we could do that.
I think with all that they bring to the table, their expertise in so many different areas, with so many different people, it'd be hard for us to develop that on our own. Have that, on day one, with just one or two people in an office that we created with rules, the cost would be probably higher. So I think it's pretty, the value's there definitely. So
Absolutely.
Well, I'm happy to make a motion to accept the proposal and the $86,400 out of the 1149 economic development, the professional services line item 30570 with the location number 317. Is that what we agreed? With the 317, okay. That's my motion.
So you're making it not out of the general fund?
Correct, out of the economic development fund.
I'll second.
I have a motion from Mrs. Furry, second from Mr. Weir, for an additional appropriation of $86,400 from Economic Development Fund 1149 for professional services. Any further discussion? All those in favor, please signify by stating aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, state no. And additional is approved. Thank you very much.
Look forward to working with you all.
We'll be in-
We'll be in touch
Yeah.
to get a
Sounds good.
kickoff started.
Thank you.
It's got a nice book.
I know, and I'm still managing to get paper everywhere.
I like this book.
I need a whole bunch close by.
Yeah.
All right. All right, our next additional appropriation this evening is the surveyor from the general fund. Good evening, Mr. Mack.
Ron Mack, County Surveyor. I've submitted an additional appropriation for us to complete the engineering studies that we need for the Armour Morgan drain. We need these dollar figures so we can go after grants. I have the great state of Nebraska had a whole list of grant writers who specialize in drainage. Of that, I contacted 5. One did not respond. 2 said they were booked full, and I have 2 just waiting on us to make a decision. And they're both very, very optimistic that we can get the grant money that we need to get this project off the ground. What's prompted all this, not only was the establishment of the TIF district, but also some property up there along 63 has changed hands. The new owners are adamant about doing a new drainage project up there. And the problem is, the folks downstream are gonna be in big trouble. There's no place for the water to go. Our tile cannot take it at all. And I've also given you some legal history. The county is liable for any of those damages because we knew that infrastructure existed since 1944. Not only did that happen, but about 15 years ago, some property changed hands. Nobody knew anything about it, nobody to blame, but a building permit was issued right in the right-of-way of this existing drain. So when this extra water comes down from either development in the TIF district or additional drainage projects from the new landowners up there, that home is it's gonna have problems. There's no place else for the water to go. So I asked the engineer who helped us do the initial study what it would take to come up with some good hard numbers. He provided a quote, and that's the quote I gave you. I'm trying to figure out, since nobody on the drainage board's ever done this, as far as I can tell, forever. Talked to the commissioners, talked to different people on redevelopment, and everybody said Scott Craig is the guy to go talk to. He's the one that could guide you. So I went to Terre Haute and spent an hour with Scott in his office, and the result is what I have before you. Scott made no commitments on the part of anybody for any reason. I want to make that clear. He just is coaching me a little bit. So what we're looking for is 30,000. Roger's quote is for 25, but Scott said there will always be some contingencies. You should ask for just a little bit more if you're going to do that. So that's the reason why we bumped it up to 30. I took his recommendations to the drainage board and asked them to review it. They did, they voted on it, and as a result of their vote, I'm directed to come here and make my plea to you guys.
So it's been a couple of years, but we approved you mentioned the original engineering study. Like we had approved money for some engineering work on
In
this.
23.
Okay, yeah. I
23,
thought I had been
right.
confused. And so at that time, that study was used to determine whether like the residents wanted to vote to
Right.
reestablish the drain. Is that
Right.
correct? Okay. So even though it wasn't established at that time, we would still be liable since they just recently
Yes,
voted to
because
reestablish it?
if you'll read the law there, it says if the infrastructure is there and the county knows it, it doesn't matter whether they ever established that as a regulated drain or not. I'm sorry, when the laws were redone in 66, where they began the assessments or not, they're still liable for it. So if you'll remember, when I took office, they said there was no regulated drains. And then lo and behold, I knew that was wrong because my dad told me about two of them. We've got this one in Dana and this Arnold Morgan drain. Then we had 9. One of those drains turned out to be a privately funded drain. I chased a banker down who was still alive in Danville, Illinois, and got the whole story for that. So that drain is off our books. Then there were 9 drains left. After that we vacated each one. You had to take it through the specific legal process of public notices, public meetings, then we voted on it, and we have vacated 9 drains, and they're all recorded, and they will be entered into the commissioner's record before I get done. Our attorney tells us they should have been as they were done, but the previous administrations didn't want to do that. So now we're down to 3 drains: Armour Morgan drain, Rouse drain, and the Carruthers drain. They're all 3 up there in that TIF district. This drain needs to be done. Like I say, it's over capacity. It was reevaluated by the SCS in the mid-80s and found to be too small, too flat, too shallow. This engineering study will take what we did in 23 to the next level. We have to go down and we have to actually determine what the elevations are for the mains, how deep can we go, where the laterals are gonna have to be, and those types of things. It's
So
really
this
gonna be
drain was not one that was
vacated.
off the books or whatever you called it?
It was on the books. We've got all the court records. We've got everything.
No, I mean, you did the vote and everything on the Armor Morgan?
Yes.
And they voted to keep it?
To keep it
Okay,
because of the shape of the city.
okay.
And so that's where we're at. Now we've got it, now we're trying to get it fixed. We think we can get the funding to do it, but we have to have the engineering.
What were the other two drains that were,
The Rouse drain, which is in Raleightsburg, that's the one that's undercutting the two roads up there. We're gonna have to fix that one no matter what. Whether we do it, whether commissioners do it, whether redevelopment does it, it's gonna have to be fixed sooner or later. And the other one is the Carruthers drain. That's all on one property owner. I'm not sure where they stand on that. They're anti-development, but if there is development and it happens to drain on his property, he may feel a little bit different about that. So, we're not at that point yet.
The affected landowners will be responsible for the cost of construction.
If we get this done, if we get our grant, then we'll have to come up with some matching funds, and yes. Then that matching funds, we're looking at trying to keep it under $30 an acre for 10 years. So for every acre that you can tile, a lot of guys will tell you 15 to 20% increase in yield, so it'll pay for it.
Would the $30,000 for this engineering work be able to use towards the matching?
That's where we get our final numbers to submit to the grant writers.
but can we use it towards the match money?
Like can we use that expense?
A lot of times you can use that towards the match.
Yes, I think you can, yes. I didn't get into that depth of conversation with the grant writers. They just, yeah. One kind of told me, gave me a ballpark idea what she thought she could do it for, and the other one wouldn't tell me, so. Wouldn't make that commitment. But that's what they do, water grants. They work with OCRA, they work with IDM, they work with USDA, EPA, and sometimes they put all these different grants together and put them together. So but before we can start with the grant, we gotta know how much money it's gonna cost. Originally, if you look back in the study from 23, it went from $1 million to $2.7 million to replace that. It's almost 3 miles of underground tile. More recently, we've had some discussions with some construction excavation folks and some engineers, and they're offered some suggestions of downsizing the tile at different places, which will allow them to use smaller tile, which will save us money and possibly even carry more water. So we're just at that point now where we gotta make our final plans.
Does this engineering study develop a set of drawings or specifications that will be needed for?
Well, the ones that you guys have is pretty much just general. This one here. The one that we're looking for is going to be the one. This is the one that we did in 23.
Right.
The one, what we're doing now is the one that's going to produce the drawings and all that kind of stuff. Yes.
So in your spreadsheet, you go from step 1 to 10 steps.
That's kind of a proposed
Right.
timeline.
So just help me understand. Today you're asking for 30, but you may be back to ask for an additional 24 for a total of 54, or?
Well, it depends on what the grant writers do, what the grant writers come.
Okay.
That
So
I
you got-
don't know. I have, what is it, 20,000, I think, in my budget, 25,000 in my budget. So this 30 will carry us through that process.
But you got 2 quotes from 2 different people, right?
Yeah.
And then The second spreadsheet or page 2.
Yeah, that's just what ifs.
Okay. So if you guys want to look at page 2, you can see the exact amount requires final design. So you can see the red arrow to
Just
that
what
dollar
ifs.
amount.
Kind of give you an idea how you look at this and how you cost this out on a per acre basis.
Not a cheap project.
Not a cheap project. And, you know, there it is, sins of the fathers are coming back on the sons. You gotta deal with it, you know. But my concern is when I started this whole process, is the Indiana Surveyors Association was really pushing on us to know where your drains are, and if you're not gonna use them, and you're not collecting money on them, get them off the books, because you're still liable for them. Well, I've got 9 of the 13 done. Well, 10 if you wanna count that mutual drain. So we just got 3 more to go, guys. We're kinda down to the nitty gritty.
Thanks for your work.
It's work. I've lost some hair. So I don't know, is there any other questions? Anything I can tell you?
Make a motion to approve the 30,000.
I'll second the motion.
I have a motion for Mr. Weir, a second for Mr. Costello. The $30,000 additional appropriation, and this is Drainage Board Department. I mentioned surveyor because the surveyor was here, but it's.
Professional fees.
Yes, and to the line item professional fees. But it is going into location 126.
1.6, isn't it?
So that's
Yeah.
Drainage Board. Is that Drainage Board? That's correct, it's going to Drainage
Per
Board.
department.
Any further discussion? Okay. All those in favor, please signify by stating aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, state no. Appropriations approved.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Ron. All right, our next appropriation this evening is the hazard mitigation grant. Jimmy, is that yours? I think it's pretty simple. This is a remaining balance, I believe, that needs to be rolled forward into 2026, correct?
Correct.
Okay. There's currently, Jimmy has $5,183.61 that he can still spend from his grant. It just rolled over from 25 to 26, and so it just needs reappropriated back in so he can continue to.
So we can finish the mitigation.
Yep.
Procedure.
I'm gonna make a motion. This is pretty cut and dry here. For the $5,183.61 into the 8137 hazard mitigation grant under professional services.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion from Mrs. Furry, second from Mr. Weir, for additional appropriation of $5,183.61 for the hazard mitigation grant, Fund 8137. Any further discussion? All those in favor, please signify by stating aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, state no. All right, additional is approved.
Thank you.
Thank you. Do you have any more tonight?
Yeah, I thought I put in for, I got a couple of them. They're through E911.
Okay, they're in a different
They're in the
section. We'll flip it that way.
Okay,
You almost got the award for quickest of the night.
okay.
All right, if you flip back to the 911 section there. So the first one we have for 911 is computer support and service and miscellaneous for $14,732. Caliber project, automated reporting to assist with fire and EMS with state reporting.
I'm open to questions on this. I can also give you guys a little bit on that, just so that way it's clarified and everybody's on the same page with it.
Yeah, can you explain that one for me?
Yeah,
real quick?
absolutely.
Yeah.
So Caliber, which is the project we started last year and it was funded last year, we're getting very close to ending it, but hopefully being able to go live at the end of May, which we're about 2.5 months ahead of schedule. So with a new system, obviously, they inform you things later. First off, I want to thank some of the fire chiefs, local fire chiefs for the area, came here tonight in support of this. Also, if you guys had any questions for them, taking time out of their days and stuff like that, some of them are on a volunteer basis, and I think it's everybody's day off here, so they're here today for free in support of this. So the ESO reporting system, state of Indiana, you basically get two options. You get image trend and ESO. From my understanding is that the fire departments, their reporting that they have to do every year is currently done through a free system that the state provides, which is image trend, and then there's a paid version of image trend. General consensus of talking with all the fire chiefs is the image trend is not the most user-friendly, and it's also not the cheapest if you get the paid version. ESO, from my understanding, which Perrysville Fire Department currently has ESO, and they've had ESO for approximately 6 months now that they paid for themselves. It's very user-friendly, and it's also the same system that the ambulance company uses. It's actually cheaper than image trend by several $1,000s, as well as the yearly fee. So the new CAD system has a automatic feature that if they are assigned a call through dispatch, it submits information to the ESO program for their annual reporting that they have to do, which is done with ISO inspections and other reportings that they have to do also. So this was the $14,732. This is to get every fire department other than Perrysville set up with ESO, and it'll pay for it for the entirety of this year, with it being roughly the cost of, sorry, looking at my notes here, roughly around $11,500 a year in a yearly fee to continue the ESO system. As you know, the local area fire departments mainly are volunteer basis. They do have some paid personnel, but they're as cash goes, it's very limited as to what they can do. So I was trying to, in an attempt to try to make lives easier for everybody with the reporting system, so everybody has the same system for Unity, to try to get this wrapped up into the new Caliber project.
So currently, each fire department has to go into the state system and then upload the reports.
Manually,
And then this would actually just run from the 911 system.
correct.
So it would relieve volunteer fire departments from having to do that.
Well, and to a degree, yes, a lot of the work is already done for them. They still have to submit everything and sign off on it, but yes.
They would have to fill out the incident of what exactly occurred when they got there, that type of information.
Correct. And the new CAD system does a majority of that for them. And it would work with the paid version of image trend, obviously not the free one, the state wouldn't, spring for that, but it would work with either image trend and or ESO, which ESO was what the general consensus of the fire departments of what they wanted to go with, and it's also the cheaper option by about, I think it's about $19,000.
So each department will have access, then they can
Correct.
just do it from their location.
Correct.
And then,
So this covers all the fire departments except for Perrysville because they already paid for
Correct,
their
except
own.
for I was going to try to wrap Perrysville into the yearly fee after that, continuing.
have you already
You
paid
knew
your
where I
fee?
was going.
You've already paid it.
They've already paid their setup fee. They got their set up approximately 6 months ago.
So this would be, if we continue to do this, or if we do it, this might be a budgeted item, yearly budgeted item
Correct,
for all of the fire.
correct.
Through 911 fees or public
There-
safety or?
There's ways that we can do it. We can do it because, the public safety tax money, they can, we can split it up and they can get an extra on top of that to pay for their own licensing, or we can do it a line item in emergency management, or I don't know about doing a line item in E911 specifically because of the way the state looks at the 911 budget, but
They're pretty picky.
yeah, they're pretty picky, so we
A
may.
lot of, I've been out of the business for a few years, so image trend was always something I had to deal with, but, whether it's user-friendly or not, I guess depends on who the user is, but none of it's fun when you say that, but, it does also affect, like, you know, so what interest does the county have for fire departments to do their reporting on their calls? Well, one of the things is a lot of grants are tied to accurate reporting for the county and whether or not you're caught up. Image Trend, you know, if you get behind in reporting, it can be long, tedious nights for volunteers to sit there and manually fill these reports out. So sometimes it doesn't get done. And then grants can be lost because of, you know, and they know, you know, is if you say, yes, we're up to date on our reporting, well, they're gonna know that. So it's kind of lose grants for this type of thing. So I think in some ways it does pay off with, especially when you look at like FEMA grants, which can be in the hundreds of thousands of dollars for departments, which if it saves them money, provides them with things, and it's something they don't have to ask for later somewhere else in the communities. So there's.
It also affects insurance rates too, for accurate reporting, homeowners insurance and stuff like that through ISO inspections.
Yeah, your insurance services organization every so many years drops by and wants to look at your fire protection plan, and your reporting is part, as a graded item in those reviews. So, you know, do a bad job at reporting and your homeowner's insurance goes up, so some amount. It can affect the rates.
And you have checked this is okay to take it out of 911 at this time. Again, it's okay to take it out of the 911 at this point in time.
At this point, yes, because it's part of
finishing
the
up,
caliber
completing
project.
it.
Yep.
I'll make a motion for the $14,732 for computer support, service, and miscellaneous out of the 911 Fund 1222, line item 33103, and location 263, as written.
I'll second that.
And for moving forward, I'll make sure to put this in the EMA budget for when it comes to budget time, and I'll put it specifically as a specific line item just for this, just so there's no confusion or anything.
Just for future reference, though, I mean, you know, depending on how the future goes and how, you know, budgets go. Don't ever want to see us not be able to use something like this, but it is an item that if you can't fund this in the future, then it would revert back to free software, you know, that nobody likes. But
You want to look into grants? I don't know if there are grants.
Yep.
there is a fallback to not being able to do this.
I have a motion for Mrs. Furry, a second for Mr. Costello, for an additional $14,732 from the E911 fund, number 1222, location 263. Any further discussion? All those in favor, please signify by stating aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, state no. Addition is approved. And that is a budget line item, computer support and service and miscellaneous. It is approved. Okay, and the next one is also in the same fund and location, E911, and the same line item, computer support service and miscellaneous, for the amount of $21,907 for additional licenses cost for the Caliber CAD project. All users have access to the system.
So it's a new project, something that's never been done before. The current CAD system we have, you don't have to have licenses. The main reason for the licenses is for securities. So if someone gets a hold of the software, they can't just install it and be able to do what they want to do with it. You have to have a series of numbers and everything like that associated to each individual user. So again, that was an oversight, but nearing the end of the project, things come up that,
The one time, right?
I'm sorry.
Is that one time on this cost?
On this cost? Yes, sir, yes. It,
Is it 2 years? I'm reading it, this is year 2 total, or is it our second year? I'm not sure how I'm reading it. On the-
so
on
we're
the-
still in the process of building this CAD system.
Okay.
It's not live yet, so we're
Okay.
still in the process of attempting to finish it by the end of May.
And this will be available to all the fire departments?
Yes, sir. Yep, the new CAD system, they do have availability to access everything now.
So is this a cost overrun, or this,
No, basically it was a miscount of licenses. I did not anticipate the amount that we would need, and this is to cover the total cost of what is now needed.
okay? So this is for each user?
Yes.
So how many users will be on here?
So involving fire departments, the Clinton City Police Department, the town marshals, and the sheriff's office, we're looking at approximately 75 users, roughly, if I had to guess.
Yeah, that's close enough.
Yeah. And the initial purchase paid for the majority of the license. These are just extra licenses that we need to make sure everybody has access to the system.
Do you know what the cost is per user?
I think it says on there.
On the original contract, I believe it does, yes. Which I don't have that with me, but I can't really, I don't want to say a number off the top of my head and be incorrect.
So there's this attachment looks like it's dependent upon what it is, it's for each user?
Yes,
Okay.
Yeah, those are the addition.
because there's different levels of users and
Okay.
and stuff like that.
Expensive.
And there is money in there, right? There's
Yeah.
something on the bottom here, isn't it like a million?
1.2 that also includes this year's budget. Fine.
I'll again make a motion for the $21,907 for computer support services, 33103, location 263 out of Fund 12222.
And I'll second that.
Thank you.
I have a motion for Mrs. Furry, a second for Mr. Weir, for additional appropriation of $21,907 for computer support service and miscellaneous for the 911 fund. Any further discussion? All those in favor, please signify by stating aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, state no.
And I don't know if I covered that, but at the end of May is when we're hoping to go live. We're about 2.5 months ahead of schedule, so thank you.
And one more.
One more.
So on the next one is a quote from EAS Technologies. The current laptop I have doesn't have enough computer in it to be able to support all the functions that I need to do. So if I try to open up a couple programs at once, they all link together. It actually shuts the computer down, and this is what EAS provided me. It's more expensive, but it's a tougher laptop. I carry it with me everywhere. It's bump resistant. And also, if I'm out in the field or in an emergency or something of that nature, I need to have emergency declaration signed. It has a touchscreen, so you can sign documents electronically. So that way there's no delay in any type of services.
I'll make that motion. As Brenda said, all of the good numbers.
I'll second.
Okay, I have a motion from Mr. Weir, second from Mr. Bose for an additional appropriation of $4,202.50 for computer equipment and fund, for the 911 fund. Any further discussion?
Yeah, can you check with Sean from EAS or whoever you're speaking with and make sure that this is included in the contract that we have with them?
In regards to,
The county has a contract with EAS.
Okay.
And certain pieces of equipment are under that contract.
okay,
I would like to make sure that
It's
after
added.
the purchase of this,
Uh-huh.
that it's not an additional, if you need something repaired, it's.
okay, yeah, I can do
$100.
that, absolutely,
Just
yes.
make sure that they add this
Yep.
to our contract.
Yep, absolutely.
Any equipment that ES is bringing at this point, it's
Automatically.
added onto it, and then I'll make those changes.
Good.
Okay.
Good.
All right,
Very good.
thank you very much.
All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, state no. Appropriation approved.
All right, thank you very much.
All right.
Excuse me for a moment.
Let's flip back. All right. Okay. If you'll flip back just after the drainage board, we had an additional appropriation from the improvement fund in the amount of $20,178.08 for contractual services. This is for this was the remaining balance that was left over from the additional appropriation that we did late last year for the ambulance facility in Cayuga. It's for to pay the utilities and include the construction costs as well. All the costs associated with that building that as they get it ready to go. This was the amount that they have left, they haven't spent out of that additional appropriation. So they'd like it reappropriated for 2026 so they can continue to spend that down.
I'll make a motion to allow.
I'll second. I have a motion from Mr. Costello, second from Ms. Brown, for $20,178.08 from the improvement fund, $49.50 for contractual services. Any further discussion? All those in favor, please signify by stating aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, state no. Additional is approved. Next additional appropriation is from Redevelopment Commission. It's in the amount of $140,420 for the Dana demolition. It's appropriate their funds from the Okra grant money for the Dana demo. So we just need to appropriate it so they can spend it.
This is from Okra.
Yes, for the grant.
Yeah.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Okay, I have a motion from Mr. Weir, second from Mrs. Furry. With additional appropriation of $140,420 for the Okra grant money to be put into the Dana demolition budget line item for the Redevelopment Commission Fund 1149. All those in favor, please signify by stating aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, state no. Addition is approved. Okay, the next one in your packet is from Public Safety. It's in the amount of $29,200. It is additional appropriation sent to us from the commissioners from the ambulance service. We briefly discussed this at the end of the last meeting, although we couldn't actually formally make any recommendations on it because it hadn't been advertised yet. This is the one we mentioned having a discussion about.
What all is included in that?
Brent, Brent's here.
Yes, but it's here.
Did you have a contract signed or?
So this has been ongoing since
Yeah.
July of 2024. With the old commissioner's administration that was here, they had sent a contract over in August of 24 that was still dated and issued for Clinton City. It was requested to be sent back, to have everything changed and updated to show for Perrysville, not for Clinton. It was agreed upon that that was the amount that we were going to go for, was the same as what we were paying for Clinton City. They never sent it back. So I questioned it a couple times. I'd finally got the contract back about 2-3 months ago, filled it out, sent it back in, and I still haven't heard. At this point, we have covered all expenses from July of 2024 through now for electricity, for gas, for
So
updates, for
from
anything.
budgeting standpoint, we had the joint council meeting, commissioner meeting in June, right before everything happened, where we need to discuss financial arrangements. It was like increasing the utilities and the insurance cost. We had that meeting. We took the additional appropriation that we had originally. There was a different house in Cuba that they were looking at. We took that money, basically reappropriated it into construction cost, utilities, and startup supplies, like for the furnishings and things like that. So we had earmarked those expenses. No one ever mentioned, we had budget hearings in September. No one has ever mentioned a contract to the council. The first time we've ever heard of a contract is when we got the additional appropriation that there was any kind of contract. We've obviously budgeted for other contracts. So we were under the understanding that it was the agreement that was made in June of '24 of the additional amounts that you would submit the invoices of, like, your additional expenses. So that's kind of where we would like to have some kind of joint meeting to figure out what we owe you. Everyone's under the understanding we definitely owe Perrysville money. As far as terms of agreements with construction cost, rents, fees, utilities, whatever it be, we would like to sit down and have that conversation to get that worked out.
Now, I know we had emails back and forth between myself and RJ. The other two commissioners at that point weren't very receptive to much of anything. They were very kind of standoffish about the whole. We had agreed upon the $1,500 a month, which was the same as what it was we're paying, that the county was compensating Clinton City for the rental of the building. And I've got that back and forth in emails between us.
Was that like after a certain point in time? Because
Yeah,
I mean,
that
when we
was
originally
like
made the
July,
agreement,
August of 24.
because see, in June of '24, when we first did the agreement, we moved forward with doing the construction. The agreement was we would fund half of the construction cost and then do the increase for the utilities. And that's like what you agreed with too, also at the meeting.
At that point, yes, that's what we agreed with to get things moving, because they were going to house both trucks in the south end of the county, if you remember correctly.
What they weren't going to. That night, it was either going to be the house in Cuba, because that's where that money came from, or it was going to Perrysville. So, I mean,
There were other options that we just did not get to discuss because the decision was made to do that. There were at least two other options.
Yeah.
Well, originally, the option that we provided to renovate the station wasn't even brought up. And we had brought it up to the commissioners, and they had neglected to bring it up until it had come up that night.
I think it had gotten brought up at their previous meeting. It had gotten voted down, and then it got brought up again at the joint meeting, because then the inspection report at the Cuba house was determined that there was going to have to be a substantial amount of money in order to update it. But in the meantime, there had been mobile unit priced out to go to, like, the sheriff's department, to put a station there for a temporary one. There was also a place up by North Vermillion. They had apartments there.
Dana Help Fire Rescue had offered the Hillsdale station
So
as an option. I mean,
there wasn't going to be two at Clinton. I don't know how that kind of got started, but that was not on the table at that moment. So, but either way, we do owe, the county does owe Perrysville money. We do want to make it best, but
What I would like to do is table this so-called tonight, have a meeting, look at your emails, kind of totally understand what all the participants were relating back to you. Because we don't have that, we don't know
Right.
what was discussed. So if we had all that information and looked at those utility bills, I'm sure we'll mutually come up with something that's acceptable to everybody. So, but that would put all the pieces to the puzzle together for us, so. And I think we can come up with some type of
now,
agreement.
keep in mind that I'm just gonna say my opinion is that there should be two brand new ambulance stations existing in this county at this point in time.
Right.
When these discussions were happening, and I've been involved in this since day one, wherever you want to start the day. But
4 years ago.
5, 10, 20, whatever. The thing is that, you know, these discussions were all about temporary housing, emergency situation type things. Won't take long. We're getting ready to build, you know, that type of discussion. And it turned out to be something different. Okay, so it did. Now, so does that change things? Possibly, but we weren't informed of any later negotiations on down the road. Now, my understanding was at the time when we agreed to go the route of using the Perrysville station, which thank goodness we had that option. It was like was mentioned in the meeting. It was half the construction cost, and then I think in advance on the public safety money to pay for the other, because we had to have the money right then to pay for it. There was, we had agreed, and I'm just going off memory, being at the meeting, was that if there was an increased cost of internet usage because of the ambulance being there, water bills going up, washing trucks, we would cover that, and then, you know, we would take invoices or all at once or one at a time, whatever. As far as leasing or rent goes, I recall that definitely was said that it would not be an issue, or there would be no rent or lease payments at that joint meeting. So that was the last information I had on the matter. So anything additional, whether there's money owed for the use of the building or not,
We've been through 2 budget hearings and no one's mentioned rent.
no
to
one's
us.
ever said a word to me about it.
So
And then I have
we
no
don't have
control.
it,
And-
like, that's
Yeah.
why we're in this predicament.
And I
that-
understand that, but I have no control
Well,
over that portion.
No, I know, I
At
understand
all.
you don't. I
And
just wanna know
just
where
left
we're
that to
coming
dry.
And I
from.
know I'm right because, and the reason I know I'm right is because then that would be unfair to the other department. Because all of a sudden, they've been receiving the lease payments, but nothing for construction upgrades or anything like that. So what about that? So that was kind of the balance. How did we balance the two? Well, they're getting lease payments, they're getting building and renovations, which should have, you know, you get to keep for
Yeah.
your use.
We lost a bay that we need
Well,
to do so, but
but I mean, you guys wanted the space for future use for personnel on the station, was my understanding, right? I mean,
it's a possibility, but it wasn't a necessity.
okay, well, and it was also supposed to be for 6 months or
Yeah, it was
something.
supposed to be a temporary fix for a long-term problem.
So there are issues, what I'm
Here we
saying
are for 2 years
is
later.
I have a viewpoint, there are issues, he has a viewpoint, he has evidence of communications. We were promised a meeting, I think, or not promised, but we were agreeable to having a meeting to discuss it further. So that's where I'm at this point, is to meet and say what happened.
Let's work it out. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm open to
you know-
coming for a meeting, that's fine.
Perhaps we've, you know, obviously outstayed our welcome. Not mean you're not trying to kick us out, I'm not saying
No.
that, but I mean, we should be there. And right now, we're real close to not being there. But we should have been out there a long time ago, in my opinion. And so, you know, how far did the money go for the renovations? You know, it wasn't designed to you know, this should be good for 20 years, you know, or 2 years or 3. Maybe there is some rent owed, but I don't know if it's for the entire time. But so that's what we'll hammer out, if you're agreeable to that.
Yeah, we can sit down and have a meeting.
Who were the commissioners that signed off on that 1,500 a month?
None of them did.
None of them.
They didn't send the contract back like they were supposed to.
Was it because they didn't want to sign it, or?
You tell me.
Yeah. It's all
That's what we'll
unknown.
find out.
Yeah,
We'll find out.
we will
Yeah.
agree, and hopefully commissioners will agree that this is the right thing to do, whatever we come up with, so.
Somebody want to take the lead on that meeting?
Would you mind, Neil?
Well, big deal.
Setting it up, you mean with
Yeah.
the individual parties?
Yeah.
I can, yeah, I should be able to.
You know the most.
I'll just get a hold of everybody and say, you know, try to pick a date. see who could be there. All council be invited, or if you can make it.
I mean,
Try to,
that'll give you some time to get your information together
Yeah, that's
too.
fine.
Is that okay? Okay.
yeah, and yeah, that,
I mean, I feel this may be reasonable, but it may not be enough. You know, I don't know, because I see it says appropriate balance, but what's appropriate mean? So,
Do we need a
think-
second to the table?
Yeah, I think
I
with the
didn't really get-
29, what was it, 29,200, 28,500 would have been $1,500 a month for the 19 months prior, and now we're going into 20. And then there was $700 because we had covered all of the cost for all the furniture, furnishings, everything that we weren't reimbursed for.
Yeah, and see, the last I had, when I went back in my notes, I had a message that said, like, Perrysville had bought them all together in like one invoice, because they had bought Clinton's too. And then, that you had spoke with Brenda about getting reimbursed from it.
And we
that-
got reimbursed for the construction portion.
Yeah, right, that came out in December, but in July of '24, you guys had purchased it, they were gonna submit the invoice to it, and it was gonna be on the next, the 17th would have been the next pay cut, or the claims cut, but there was no invoice with it, so they can't cut the claim with it without the invoice, without documentation, so it just never got paid without the documentation. And so, I mean, you guys ended up paying for it then, so, yeah, that's why that happened.
Want
Okay,
to make a
so
motion to table?
was that
We're gonna need a motion.
I did. I
Okay,
didn't make a motion to table it until further discussion.
I'll second the motion to
Or I thought I
table.
did.
all right. So by tabling it, we don't have to re-advertise it, so at any time we can just approve it. We have a motion from Mr. Weir, a second from Mrs. Furry to table the additional appropriation in the amount of $29,200 in the line item ambulance service under the fund public safety. Any further discussion?
I have a meeting set up here in
Yeah,
the
we're
near
ready to get a
future.
meeting set up, so.
and this further highlights my long-standing opinion that the county needs its own facilities to reduce risk. It's just exactly like this, so.
Right.
All those in favor, please signify by stating aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, say no. All right, it is tabled.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We'll be in contact.
Thanks, Perry.
All right, the next additional appropriation is also from public safety. This one is the amount $148,401.79. It is also for the ambulance service to cover the remaining balance of the payment due for the ambulance services for the whole year of 2025. 2025 was like a shot in the dark on kind of knowing the cost. And so this is the remaining balance due for the last year.
And she came and spoke at the meeting in January, did she? Or she sat up there and, or did I dream that?
No, there was January. I think December, January.
I'm gonna say, I think it's December.
I don't know. At
Ish.
least I didn't dream.
I think we had two meetings. I don't know.
It was cold outside. And the whole spreadsheet of why that's there is behind it.
I'll make a motion to pay $148,401.79 into, out of the Public Safety Fund 9104 for ambulance services rendered in 2025. The remaining balance.
I'll second the motion.
I have a motion from Mrs. Curry, second from Mr. Bose, for an additional $148,401.79 from the Public Safety Fund into the ambulance services fund. Any further discussion? All those in favor, please signify by stating aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, state no. Additional is approved.
I think it's interesting, or it should be noted that these costs are still at a minimum
Oh, yeah.
of, you know, what it really costs versus, you know, if it was a contractor, for example, like in the past, it could be substantially higher right now, much, much higher, so.
I think when they bid it out and had a company come in, it was like $1.5 million. When, after the old service, let us know that they can no longer
Yeah.
provide the service.
It
So,
was cheaper.
huh?
It was cheaper in the past.
What? So to outsource it, it would have been much more expensive than. So,
So I don't doubt any of these expenses on here, but when you look at them, you know, there's not really enough detail. I just question, does it need audited?
I'm sure she can get you more detail if you need it.
She's happy to help. Any information you
I
want.
mean, should we?
I think she has reports that she creates the report from, so.
And another thing, I remember her stating that the software system changed or something along those lines, and she had to actually put it out into a spreadsheet, so it's not coming. It didn't actually come from her system at that time or something.
Yeah, they're
I
switching,
vaguely remember something like that.
they're switching their computer system, so they've got two combined into one.
Okay.
All right, where are we at? This list. We jumped up.
1.2 million.
Yep.
Do they get, does like Park County EMS have audits on their own site? I mean, they have their own version of this exact thing, so.
Yeah.
You said they do,
Yeah, they do.
Yeah. They do.
but that doesn't include us, right? Or does it?
No.
So
There's
something,
certain like we split a couple of their payroll positions, so those costs are split, but everything else is separate. Like, all the costers.
right.
All right, our next additional appropriation is for the highway. It's actually in the Community Crossing Grant Fund, Fund 9102. It's $205,228.22. This is the payment to Reese Valley Construction. This is the Community Crossing Grant, that money we've received from the state to do all the work. So they need this appropriated into the line item. So that way they can pay their expenses.
I'll make a motion. This is grant money from 9102 Community Crossings Grant, thank you. $1,205,228.22 as written.
Okay. I have a motion for Mrs. Furry, second for Mr. Somerville. Approve the additional appropriation for the Community Crossing Grant as stated. All those in favor, please signify by stating aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, state no. Additional is approved. So, the next additional appropriation this evening is for the Cume Capital Development Fund, 1138, in the amount of $67,745 for IT upgrades. This is the one-year warranty extension on the Mutinix infrastructure, powers and servers of courthouse and EOC. We had this budgeted in the budget, but there were some other expenses that carried over from one year to the next, and so it's just a timing issue on those other IT projects. They got paid out of a different year. So. I think they were jail IT.
There were some jail IT items that didn't get moved forward from one year to the next, so, but to make it clear that this number that we're doing today, it was actually budgeted in the budget. But because those got pulled, the bills got pulled forward and paid out, we didn't have enough. They just used this invoice as the additional appropriation.
Okay,
Did that make sense?
I think so.
Basically, we didn't spend the money 1 year, so it went back in the accounts. We need to pull it back out and spend it again.
I'd like to make that motion that we approve $67,745 for IT upgrades out of Fund 1138, cumulative development.
I'll second.
Okay, I have a motion from Mr. Weir, second from Mrs. Furry, for the additional appropriation as stated. Any further discussion? All those in favor, please signify by stating aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, state no. Additional is approved. All right, and you have one more in your packet. It has not been advertised yet.
It's not been advertised.
It has not been advertised, so it is, the commissioners had reviewed it at their meeting last week. Just for the ambulance station furniture and equipment. As we briefly discussed, Perryville ended up buying the first, I think, beds and things like that, so that is their property. We need to furnish the facility in Cayuga. There is a spreadsheet listed behind it of the things they're buying, like obviously towels, refrigerator, office chair, mattress, bed frames, in the total amount of $10,614.07. There's currently enough funds available in the ambulance service line item in the public safety fund, in Fund 9104. However, it's obviously earmarked for other projects. So they're asking if they can spend the earmarked money basic for now to buy these furnishings, and then we can do this additional appropriation in April to replenish that money. They need our blessing to move forward with ordering the things they need to order so they can get that facility up and running. And then we would have this paper formally in April. So the money's there, they just don't, they know that they're
It's
gonna
kind
need
of
the
like,
additional.
it's kind of like what just happened with IT. They went ahead and did it, and then we asked for it, so.
I can't imagine not completing the project at this point. For that, obviously, we gotta have this as
Yeah.
part of it, the money's available, so, should be fine with me.
I have.
So if you wanna make a motion to allow them to spend current money for the furnishings, that,
Does it require?
No,
no, they won't let me transfer it, just so that it's formally noted that everyone is aware that they are doing it, so there's no, nobody comes back later and say that, I don't know, we need,
I don't think.
does anyone have a problem if they do
No,
it?
I don't have a problem with it.
Might
It's
not
more
even,
of a-
the invoice might not even come in until after the next meeting or something,
Yeah.
depending on when they pick it up.
Okay, so I will let them know. that-
Blessings.
Yeah, they have our blessing to go ahead and order furniture. Okay. All right.
And if we don't approve it, then RJ will have to pay for it, I guess.
A lot of money for furniture.
Only 10,000, right?
It's still, I think it's a lot of money for furniture.
Hey, Ron, do you know what the resolution number is for this resolution?
Well, I mean, it's everything. It looks like every refrigerator,
The park board? There's no number on it.
security cameras.
What's it paying?
Well, let me go to new, there should be a book in there,
Yeah, there's a, yeah.
Okay, I'll go on to new business, and then we'll come back to that. Okay, we're gonna skip old business while I find a number real quick. So,
I do have a question coming back here.
Yep.
You know, it talks about security camera system and station alert system. Does that need to be tied in with anything with the county instead of just going out and buying something off the street?
that would probably be a Jimmy question.
Yeah.
Can I voice?
Closed circuit.
So ignore this shirt. Dakota Wilson, I'm a paramedic with Park County EMS. The station alert system is directly driven off of a VHF pager. So when tones go off, it just activates and puts strobes in the bay So if somebody's working out in the bay, there's a strobe that goes off
Okay.
and it amplifies through speakers through the ceiling, and it lets the crews know, like in the middle of the night when they're sleeping, that there's a run. So that's all the station alert is.
Okay,
And then the security system's just tied into, I believe Julie will have access in her office. I don't hold me to this, but in what we currently have, Julie has access to it in her office. So while she's in her office, she can see off-site what's going on in the building and after hours and so on and so forth.
all right. That-
Thank you.
I was just, some of this says where it's getting purchased from, so I just
Yeah,
questioned. Okay,
yeah.
what
So
we're
the
getting.
station alerts through commercial radio.
Yeah,
And we have a station alert in our building currently. So it's essentially a smaller version of what we have in our current building.
okay,
Because the building's not as big as our building, so.
all right, thanks, appreciate it.
Appreciate it. All right, new business. Mandy Washburn is here tonight from Hamilton Center for an update. I'm so sorry. You're-
I apologize for not being here last month, so
No worries.
I had a car wreck and so.
Oh,
But you guys, I believe, have already received the county report, copy of that. So I'm just gonna go through very quickly kind of the overview. So for the year 2025, we served a total of 517 clients in Vermilion County. 166 of those were ages birth through 17 years. 332 of those clients were 18 to 64 years, and then 19 were 65 and older. And out of those 517, 461 or 89% were 200% below the poverty level. So we utilized in Vermilion County 211 inpatient days and completed 14,746 outpatient services. So that includes therapy, case management, skills, schools, any of those types of services that are done outside of our offices. So 14,746 services for Vermilion County. We utilized $948,514 on salaries and benefits, $368,000 on additional expenses, and $291,180 for the cost of our inpatient care for Vermilion County. So total expenses were about $1.6 million. We utilized $26,704 of charity care and received $192,932 from the county for tax support. So, and we have 24 employees from Vermilion County that work for us. And I know last year when we talked, somebody had a question about poverty levels. So that's about 38,000 for a family of 4. I know I went through that really fast. I was trying not to take up too much of your time. Any questions? Any concerns?
thank you.
Thank you. Have a
Appreciate
great evening, everybody.
Next year, remind me and I'll move you to the front. Sorry.
You're fine. No, you're fine.
Okay, that was all new business. Old business, we were going, do you have that resolution number?
Yeah, overall.
04, okay. All right.
Say 04?
Yes. For old business, we have Resolution 2026-04. It's correcting the county council park board appointments. We had somewhere in the past, many years ago, gotten off kilter with the board appointment years. They were supposed to be staggered. So I will read the resolution so we can clarify that. Whereas pursuant to the County Council's 1983 ordinance reestablishing the Park Board, and in accordance with IC 36-10-3-B, the County Council has 2 appointments to the Vermilion County Park Board with terms of appointees expiring 2 years apart. Whereas for reasons unknown, the current records of the county mistakenly show that both the County Council's appointees' terms expired on December 31st, 2025. And whereas the county council desires to correct this error by resetting the terms of its park board appointees, be it therefore resolved as follows. 1, the term of park board member Wayne Bush expired on December 31st, 2025, and 2, the term of park board member Corey Zumwalt shall expire on December 31st of 2027. Approved this day, 9th day of March 2026. We will have to vote on that. So this will, Wayne's will expire, will have expired in 2025, and then Corey will remain for another 2 years, and that will stagger them back to the 2 year. So, after much research
Yes.
and
Minute reviews, many minute reviews. I'll make a motion to approve resolution 2026-04, correcting the county council park board appointments as written.
I'll second the motion.
Okay, I have a motion from Mrs. Furry, a second from Mr. Bose to adopt resolution 2026-04, correcting county council park board appointments as written. Any further discussion? All those in favor, please signify by stating aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, state no. The resolution is approved.
Well, at this time, then, I would like to go ahead and take this moment to fill our term that is expired by Wayne on December 31st of 2025. I know he's been doing it since then, but we thank him for that. But I'd like to make a motion for Mike Clyde to fill that position.
I'll second the motion.
Sorry, I have my notes.
Sorry.
I can't write that fast. All right. I have a motion from Mrs. Furry, a second from Mr. Bose to fill the vacant park board appointment seat by Mike Clegg. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor, please signify by stating aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, state no.
No.
Alright. Alright, Mr. Clegg will be the new park board appointment. And I'd like to thank Mr. Bush for serving for many years. We greatly appreciate his help over the years as well. Sorry that took several months to get cleared up. All right, that is the end of our agenda this evening. Is there any public comment? None? Anybody have anything? Is there a motion to adjourn?
Motion made.
All right, is there a second?
Second.
Thank you very much.